Hello again. Let's continue our journey through the lesson number 10. Today it's Wednesday and we'll continue with the beasts, symbols. Yesterday we talked about the beast, which was a lion. Today we'll talk about the second beast in Daniel 7, which is the bear. And question A said, as the bear followed the lion, what nation came on the scene after the first? Explain its role in the history of nations. Isaiah 14:3 and 4 said, it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve. Thou shalt take up this proverb against the kingdom of Babylon, and say, how had the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. In Daniel 7:5, we read about the second beast. And behold, another beast, the second, like to a bear, and is right up itself on one side. And it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. We see the second beast is the bear. And the way that it's standing, it's one side up. That represents the Medo-Persia, the Median, or stronger than Persian. And God prophesies about the Babylon Empire that is gonna end. And the captivity of people of Israel, Israel was about 70 years. And the time was coming to fulfill those 70 years. And something had to happen, that this flourishing empire of Babylon has to put an end. Humanly, it was impossible for this kingdom to end. They were so proud of themselves, and the kingdom was so flourishing, and they were sure that nobody will conquer them, and humanly was impossible to be conquered. But we see this night, something happened. They were having a banquet in the kingdom, and all the men were drunk. And during the day, the river that was going through the middle of the city was the water was going to a different direction, and the gate was open during the day. But that night, they forgot to go and close the gate and redirect the water back to the city, through the city. Because they were drunk, they forgot to do this, and was the perfect time for the army to go through that gate and enter the city. Otherwise, it was impossible for them to go. We see that God was in control, and because God was in control and the prophecy was about to fulfill, something happened, and God allowed this army to enter the city. And that night, the king Belshazzar was slain, and the kingdom was taking over the Medo-Persian. And in Daniel 5:30-31, we see that was prophesied about this. And that night was Belshazzar, the king of Chaldeans, slain, and Darius the Median took the kingdom. Everything was prophesied, and everything was fulfilling at literal. Question B: What was Medo-Persia's overthrow of Babylon prophesied, and to what extent did it fulfill the vastness of its world empire status? We see that Jeremiah talked about this. In Jeremiah 25:12, it said, and it shall come to pass, when 70 years are accomplished, that I will punish the kingdom of Babylon, and that nation, said the Lord, for their iniquity, and the land of the Chaldeans, and will make it perpetual desolation. And Isaiah 44:26-28 said, 44:26-28, and that confirmed the word of his servant, and performed the counsel of his messenger, said to Jerusalem, thou shalt be inhabited, and to the cities of Judah. Ye shall be built, and I will raise up the decayed places therefore. And Cyrus, he is my shepherd, and shall perform all my pleasure, even saying to Jerusalem, thou shalt be built, and to the temple, thy foundation shall be laid. We see the prophesied about the kingdom of Babylon ending and the rebuilding of the temple. And we see the place of this king, Cyrus, which God used him to lead the people, to lead the Jewish people to go back to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple and the city. And we see that this was fulfilling ad literam. Cyrus, reading about him and this history and this prophecy, he was moved in his heart, and he was determined to fulfill this divinely appointed mission for him. And everything was fulfilling ad litera, the way that was prophesied. Those 70 years were fulfilled, and after 70 years, God said that you will go back and start rebuilding Jerusalem, rebuilding the temple. And this gives us so much faith in the prophecy that when we read the prophecy in the Bible, we should have faith and trust the Lord that everything that God said is gonna fulfill ad litera. Today we study about the bear, yesterday we studied about the lion, and tomorrow we will study about another beast, the leopard. I will see you tomorrow to continue this journey. May God bless you, and see you tomorrow.